Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is episode 4 of the Retire in a Year Revolution podcast. Now, because we're going to talk about financial things in this episode, I really want to hammer the point home that I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial consultant. I'm not licensed to do anything. I am simply sharing what I have been doing, okay, that makes things work for me, right? That's all I'm doing. So with that said, we can press on. We're all grown-ups here, right? Hopefully we're all grown-ups. We all understand the score here. I'm just sharing what I do to make things work for me. Now, I can see my camera's a bit off if you're watching on the YouTube. So let's dive in. So we need to recap very slightly, just for about 1 minute, on episode 3, where we talked about what the wealthy do to be rich, and we talked about the sweet spot. If you remember the cash flow quadrant, in fact, what I'll do is, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll get some stuff up on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast, don't worry, because I'm a helpful guy. I'll talk you through it. But in episode 3, we talked about the levels of financial freedom, and we talked about the cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and his excellent book. I recommend it. Cash flow quadrant. It's brilliant. There's an Amazon link on the blog post for this, which will be linked to from the notes below on the podcast on the YouTube video. Okay, so if you want to go and check out the blog posts, you can. There's usually bonus information and supporting information. But in the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki talks about going from an employee to being self-employed to being a business owner to being an investor. And that side of the equation, business owner and investor, that's where kind of 95% of the wealth is, but it's only where 5% of the population are. Now, being the investor is the sweet spot, because this is passive. This is where you're taking money, you're putting it somewhere, and that money is going to grow no matter what, on its own. It does come with risk, obviously, because if you're handing your money over to somebody else, to, say, for example, a broker, they could steal your money, they could make the wrong decisions, etc. But to counteract that, everything comes with risk in life, so I'm not knocking it. Everything comes with risk. If you do it yourself, there's a risk you'll make a mistake. There's a risk your broker will make a mistake. So to counteract that with the stock market, what they do is they invest in kind of index-linked funds and the top companies, because they're usually the safest. So if you get to that sweet spot, which is what a lot of these books about financial independence and retiring early and stuff talk about. Again, fantastic stuff. I'm actually taking some of that on board myself, so I am not knocking it in any way. But let's just be real for a minute. Let's just be absolutely freaking real for a minute. If I put my money into being an investor, into the stock market, which does consistently return profits year in, year out, over time, what do you actually get? So I was doing some research this morning, and on the screen now you can see this is Fool.com, which is the Motley Fool, and they do talk about financial matters. It's I don't know if I take it's US as well. They're massive. I know they're very well known in the UK. So here's some numbers for you. So if you can see this, I'll talk you through. If not, if you're on the podcast, but if you look at the last 10-year period from 2011 to 2020, the annualized return is 13.9%. And if you adjust that for inflation, it's 11.96%. So 12 to 14% range. Okay, pretty damn sweet. And then what I like about this, and why I've used this particular chart, is because it tells me that if you'd have put $1 in 10 years ago, that $1 would now be worth $3.67. That is amazing, guys. That is amazing. If you adjust that for inflation, your $3.67 is actually worth, in kind of real money in today's terms, $3.10. That's the buying power of it. Okay, so although your money, if you put $1 in 10 years ago, that dollar could buy more than it could now. So they adjust the price for inflation. So $3.10 today is the equivalent of $1 a year ago in terms of buying power. So that's great. That's fantastic. If I put $1,000 in 10 years ago, $1,000, 10 years, let's have a look. 1,000 times, and let's $3.67 times $3.67, I'd have $3,670. Amazing for doing nothing. Can I live off that? No. So if I'd put 50,000 in, 50,000 times 3.67, now we're talking, that's 183,500 that I'd have now. That's kind of doing something. That's good, isn't it? But I would need to put in that 50 grand at the start. And 10 years ago, that was a lot more money. If we take that, if we adjust that down for inflation, $1 becomes $3.10. So if we take 50,000 times $3.10, now it's worth 155,000. And also I had to wait 10 years to get that. Okay. So again, I'm not knocking it. It's freaking awesome. But let's be honest, where I started from, could not do that. And then if we look at it over time, over a 30-year period, it grew, your money would have grown 10.7%. In real terms, with inflation, that would be 8.3%. And $1 becomes $21.25, but adjusted for inflation, it's actually worth $10.93. And over 50 years, a 50-year period, annualized return 10.9. Annualized real return adjusted for inflation is 6.8%. So if you put your money away for 50 years, okay, on average per year, you're getting 6.8% back on average. And it's worth $170. $1 becomes 177, but $1 is actually really worth $27.12 adjusted for inflation. So again, guys, it's freaking brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But 6.8% per year is what it's on average been worth over the last 50 years. If we take the 30-year example, 8.3, and even the best one in the last 10 years is 11.96. And I'm guessing that's because you've seen companies like Google and Amazon and Apple really sort of take off big time. So if we sort of scroll down here, you can see returns of 20% or more. Since 1971, we've had 18 years where the return's been greater than 20%, so that's really good. But we've had 3 years out of that where there's been losses of more than 20%. There's been 2 years where there's been losses between 10 and 20%. And there's been 5 years where there's been losses between 0 and 10. So there are some years in here you would not be able to withdraw a money as an income because your investment lost money for some years. And in other years, it more than made up for that. But if you're looking to get to that sweet spot where you can just live off your passive income, you cannot rely on the stock market because one year you might go hungry. Okay. So there are some pros and cons of doing that. One, to make it worthwhile, you actually need quite a lot of money in there, which most people don't have. Most average people aren't there where we're starting from. The advantage is it's completely passive. Disadvantage, you have kind of zero control. But it's good. It's fantastic. So what we needed to do when I was looking at trying to get wealthy, I did all sorts of things. I've sold t-shirts, with designs and sold them. And that was okay. I made a little bit of money. I've done drop shipping, made a little bit of money, but you got hassle with customers and stuff like that. I went into affiliate marketing. Love that. Comparatively, compared with working down a coal mine, easy in terms of trying to make an income online. Comparatively hard. I was blogging and coming up with videos and stuff like that. Then got into network marketing, and for me that was the equivalent of being the business owner. Network marketing, I think, is a fantastic business model, but I might do, in fact I will do, I promise you I will do an episode purely related to network marketing. Although it holds such promise, the actual results in general are terrible in network marketing, just the way it is. And there are reasons for that, in my opinion. I'm actually one of the people that made network marketing work, but what I couldn't do is help enough other people do it. So my journey led me to something called Forex. If you don't know what that is, it means foreign exchange. And this, for me, is fantastic because this meant I didn't have to blog, I didn't have to create ads, I didn't have to do videos, I don't have to talk to anyone, and I could grow my money as an investor. I could be in complete control myself, didn't rely on anybody else. I just had to learn a skill, right? I just had to learn something that we've made easy. as easy as it can be, right? In my opinion. Now, I don't want to, again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't want you to think I'm making any claims here, because when I first looked at Forex, it was like, I'm never going to understand this, but it is actually pretty simple, right? And I honestly nearly quit at one point, and this is why I've tried to make it simple, because it's worth it, right? So things, I've been doing it over 4 years now, and things are a lot better now than when I started, but let me tell you why it's worth sticking with. So what we'll do, if I share my screen again, and again, I'll talk you through it if you're on the podcast, so don't worry, but we found this graphic, and it talks about why trading is the best business. So what is Forex, first of all? So if you are in America and I'm in the UK, and you go to your bank and you're gonna take $1,000 US and you're gonna convert it into our funny English money. So you take $1,000, you go to your bank, you currency exchange, you go to the foreign exchange counter, Forex counter, and you say, here's my $1,000, please. Can you give me the equivalent in pounds? And at the minute, the equivalent in pounds is probably going to be something like £750. So you get your £750, you jump on the aeroplane and you land at Heathrow, and I come and pick you up, and you say, oh, I could murder a coffee, let's go and get one. And you go to pay for it, and I say, hey, listen, while you're here in the UK, I want you to put your money away. It's all on me. Forget about it. I'll sort everything. And you go, wow, that's very generous of you. Thanks very much. So you don't spend a penny of your $1,000 that turned into £750. A week later, you fly back to the States. You've still got your $1,000, your £750 in your hand, and you go to the bank, and you go back to the foreign exchange counter, and you say, hey, here's my £750, didn't spend a penny. That Paul Turner's a great guy. He paid for everything. Here's my £750. I want my $1,000 back, please. And the cashier will look at you and go, do a quick sum and go, but your £750 at today's exchange rate isn't worth $1,000 anymore. Now, depending on what's happened with the exchange rate, it could be worth $900, $950, $992.56, or it could be worth $1,010, $1,015.36. Could be worth $1,100. It just depends on what's happened between the value of the currencies. Dollar, US dollar, Great British pound. That's foreign exchange, and that happens every second Monday to, from Sunday night in the UK through to Friday night in the UK. That is happening all the time, every second. And we can take advantage of those moves. So it's not passive, but when you give your money to the bank and they pay you interest, if you go and do your own research, I'm not even going to pull the information up. You can research it yourself. It'll take a minute. Okay, the banks are the biggest Forex traders. It's what they are doing to give you your measly 1% return or whatever it is. But you can do it yourself. So trading is the best business. You don't have to carry any stock. It's numbers on a screen. And you don't have to be good at math, by the way, before you say anything. Instant returns. Instant returns. Minimal time. You set the hours you trade. In fact, with the simple strategy that we use, the simple way of doing it, like I say, we've broken it down. I'm often done in kind of 10 minutes. That might not mean the trade only takes 10 minutes, but it means the setup only takes me 10 minutes to put on. Again, I don't want to make this seem over easy or anything like that, but I want there is a learning curve. You do have to learn something, but once you learn it, it's like anything else. Once you know how to do it, it's so easy. No customers. You don't have to sell. You don't have to refer. You don't have to recruit people into a scheme or anything like that. You don't have to hassle your friends and family. There's nothing like that. Anyone can do it. Right now, there's something here. Like it says, anyone can do it. Anyone can learn. Yes, I truly believe that. There are different ways to trade, and we don't believe one size fits all in the group. I mean, I'm part of a trading group. We don't believe one size fits all. So there are several ways you can trade, and we try and cater for that. And different people learn different times. I mean, you think back to your school days, you had the same teacher, you had the same textbooks, you had the same lessons, you had the same exams. So everybody got exactly the same grade, right? No, of course not. It doesn't work that way. So everybody's different, may take you longer to learn, shorter time to learn. Okay, but everybody can learn, and I truly believe that. And here's one of the things that I also want to spin off that, is that it is a level playing field. What do I mean by that? So let's suppose we're going to both start a shoe shop, and I'm really good at displaying the shoes in the window and coming up with special offers and, you know, buy the left shoe, get the right one free, or something like that, whatever. I'm just got a marketing flair, right? I've got a great way of laying the shop out, and, you know, I can make the customers laugh, so they like coming in and they spend money. And you've got the same stock, a similar location, but you haven't just got a flair for marketing or doing any of that, or display or any of that stuff. It's not a level playing field, is it? But in terms of trading, GBP versus USD, Great British Pound versus US dollar. I don't care if you're the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, or a homeless guy on the street, the price moves the same for everybody. It moves the same for you as it does for me. There are minor differences depending on the broker you choose and the prices they set, but fundamentally, it's exactly the same. It is the most level playing field that I've ever known. It's a complete level playing field. So it doesn't matter if you're good at math and I'm terrible at math. The price moves the same. And if you follow the simple strategy that you don't even need math for, okay, it's just level. It's equal. It puts us on an equal footing. And that's why I love it. Okay, you can probably tell I get quite passionate about it, right? Having come from an industry online where so many people struggle and fail, this is it, right? So anyway, no employees to hire. You are it. You don't have any overhead. You can do it from your phone. We have people that just literally do it from their phone. Is it better from a laptop? I think it is, because the screen's bigger and it's easier to read. But that's fundamentally the reason why. It's more pleasant, okay? But there are no employees. There's no stock. There's no buildings. There's no staff. There's no, it's, okay. So Forex is a great opportunity. Now, if we go back and looking at this, if we go back and we go back to that Motley Fool site where it talks about, you know, over the last 50 years, adjusted for inflation, you've had a return of about 6.8%. We're not allowed to share cash results or percentage increases for what we do. But let me just tell you, I would normally do more than that in a week. And I will normally do more than that in less than a week, right? So we're not allowed to entice people in on results and things like that, because at the end of the day, we are all different. I know somebody who failed their driving test 3 times, and if you ask them, hey, is it worth learning to drive? They'll probably say, no, it's really hard. It's really difficult. I passed my driving test the first time. If you ask me, I'll go, yeah, go for it. It's great having the freedom. Yeah, get out there. So we're all different. So again, we're not allowed to, we don't want to sort of talk fantastic results and things like that. But 6.8% a year, come on, right? You can do better. So pros and cons. Pros, it's in your control, entirely in your control. The money is, your money is always in your control. You can follow the strategy. You can follow 2 strategies. You can have more than one account. You can have different streams of income with Forex, which is what I really like. There's another thing that I do. I split out accounts and I'll trade one way in one account, another way in another account. The average millionaire apparently has 7 streams of income. I can do that with this. Okay. All the pros, you know, we talked about why it's the best business. The cons are, here's the cons, guys. It's not completely passive, but it can be quick. Is it risky? I'll probably do a separate podcast on that. But if you follow risk management, no, it isn't risky. Will you lose trades? I will be honest with you guys, you will lose trades. Now, if you're interested in this, I'll put a link in the show notes and I'll put it on the blog, and I'll put a link to some more information about Forex, because some of you now are listening going, hey, this isn't for me. And some of you are going, I'm interested. And some of you are like, you know, where do I get my hands on it? What do I do? So if you're that, I'll put some information on. Now, there are lots of ways to trade Forex at the end of the day. You can go and you can try and learn it for free on YouTube. That's fine. You can go and pay thousands of pounds for courses. I don't recommend you do that, because there is so much information out there. I use certain tools and things. Is there a cost to them? Yes. But one of the good things about them is you can get them for free. Is this a pitch for that? No, it isn't. Absolutely. This podcast is about retiring in a year. It's how I do it. how I do it, yes, I use those tools. So if you want to, did I read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Oh yes, I've read it a couple of times. Did I read Cash Flow Quadrant? Yes. Everything that I'm sharing with you guys, I have done, and 99% of the time I'm still doing, right? Sometimes you'd have to do things to get to a certain point, so you don't need to keep doing them anymore. So I'm just sharing with you my journey that got me out of a job, so I don't have to have a job. So Forex is, I think, something you should be looking at. How you want to learn it is up to you. I'm not here to pitch you anything. If you want to know how I'm doing it, right, then I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But I would definitely, if you're in a situation like me where you were looking at these returns on the stock market and other types of investment, high interest accounts and things like that, if you're looking at these and you're thinking, well, it's great, and I wish I'd started 20, 30 years ago. That was me. I wish I'd started 20 years ago, at least, saving up for this, more like 30, 40 years, to be honest. It's great. Most people aren't in that situation. This could well be the answer for you. And I hope you take the information I'm giving you in that spirit, that I'm hoping this is really going to help some of you get to where you want to be in terms of your financial freedom. Because I would hate to have to go back to my job. I would hate that. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like I say, I'll drop some information in the show notes. And I don't know what we're going to do next time. We might talk about side hustle, how you can make a bit of extra cash on the side, or if you're starting from zero, how you can make money out of nothing. Might be time to do one of those. But go and check out the blog post. The link will be in the show notes and on the YouTube description for more. And there might be some bonus stuff. So I will see you over there. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Retire in a Year Revolution podcast. For bonus material to support the information you heard today, be sure to head to retireinayearrevolution.com. That's retireinayearrevolution, all one word, .com, and get your bonus content. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode, so be sure to subscribe and follow this podcast.